Hi, good morning. It's Monica at Loaves and Fishes. I'm going to show you how to make a very simple recipe called potato gnocchi, otherwise known as an Italian potato dumpling. This is a staple in Italian cooking, and it has very few ingredients. We've got flour, eggs, mashed potatoes, and salt, and that makes a little dumpling that can be either put in an air fryer, boiled in salted water, or just put on a sheet pan dinner. These mashed potatoes ahead. So I used just an instant mashed potatoes made according to the directions, but you can use homemade mashed potatoes also. So I'm doing half a recipe today, which calls for half of the recipe is 1 cup of mashed potatoes, 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Make sure your potatoes aren't super hot, or else you will cook the egg when you add that in. This dough is almost like Play-Doh when you're done mixing it. I'm going to put this onto a floured counter, and I'm just going to knead it a little bit so I can get a smooth I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces. And each piece I'm going to roll into a long snake about the width of your thumb. So for me, that's about 12 inches long or so. So there's my first one. All right, so I have 4 snakes of gnocchi dough. I'm just going to cut these into little segments. Some of you have probably seen these in the freezer section, or shelf-stable. Gnocchi is very popular right now, but it's also quite easy and quick to make. These gnocchi can be frozen and just used from the freezer, so it's also really nice. I'm just going to cut them all into little things. You could just use them like this if you wanted to, but there's a couple of different ways you can treat them after they've been cut. So there's a couple ways that gnocchi is. You can roll it in a fork and it makes like a little pocket. I think you can roll it on the back of your hand if you'd like with a fork. You can also indent it with your thumb. I think they're all ways to trap sauce, like a butter rosemary sauce, or a pasta sauce, or like an olive oil. I find this the fastest and easiest. I take a fork and I just roll it over the top of it, and then you get a little pocket on the inside. Again, it doesn't really matter that they're beautiful looking. Or if you have leftover mashed potatoes, you can make this and put them in the freezer. I would not keep them in the refrigerator very long. They would tend to get sticky. Most cultures have some sort of dumpling. I've heard that you can make these with added vegetables, other vegetables, or use sweet potatoes instead of regular potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes. That should be worth trying. It'd be very good with like a rosemary butter. All right. Oops. I'm going to sprinkle them with a little flour to keep them from sticking. Just pouring a mixture of olive oil and some spices over the gnocchi, peppers, tomatoes, and onions. I'm just going to mix this around. Make sure everything is covered. put it in the oven.